This is the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM with your host, Hughie Parr.
Right, Chat City, Monday through Friday, the fastest growing morning show around radio, so thanks for being with us and making us one of the local radio shows that's growing quickly, and we look forward to your company. And right now in the studio, it's nice to welcome my second guest this morning, and that's Hannah Merlin and Louise Walmsley, and they're from Addaction. And as you know, on Chat City, we've been having people in more or less monthly from Addaction, and Addaction works with their services for young people up to the age of 18 with concerns about drug and alcohol use, including prescription drugs, medical help, professional help, advice and information. So a lot of advice and information that can be gained through Addaction. And they run over 120 projects around the country, and the directories can be found online. So lots of work being done by Addaction. So it's lovely to welcome you both. A very good morning to Hannah and Louise. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Good to see you. And are you both project workers with Addaction?
Yeah. Yes, we are, yeah.
So do you do different roles or a similar role? Is it the same role?
My role is, like the activities you've just mentioned, so my role is to design and create those activities, and that is part of the Aspire project. And Louise?
I predominantly do one-to-one Tier 3 work, which means kind of specific structured interventions with young people who are looking to reduce or stop the substance of choice. But as a service, we do go into schools and colleges and do group work around education so that young people can make informed choices about alcohol and their drug use. And we actually go up to 21 as well.
Right, so it's up to 21.
In Central and West Lancashire, yeah.
And when we talk about tiers, would I be right thinking like Tier 3 is when it's a more serious concern? How do the tiers kind of work?
Well, your tier 1 and your tier 2 are your more universal and early intervention services, really. And then when you come into your tier 3, your more specialist structured services like Addaction. And then your tier 4 would be a residential, so perhaps rehab or detox. And that's kind of how. So I suppose it's based on severity, really, and the level of structured intervention that's put into place there.
So does Addaction then, it works on the basis that people either can self-refer or they're referred into Addaction from agencies? Is that how things operate?
Yeah, that's how it works. Any young person can give us a call confidentially and chat and ask for more structured help over a longer period of time. Or any service can pick up the phone and do similar. You know, whether it be a school or a parent, or, you know, we get referrals from the police, from the youth offending teams, a wide range of different mental health services as well. Sometimes pick up the phone, and sometimes it's just about having a bit of a chat about what kind of support there is available, as well as offering, you know, a longer term approach. So.
And Hannah, I know we were talking the other day, and one of the activities, the activities are with young people, and it's presumably we were talking about how often young people will have low self-esteem, maybe don't get involved in activities, and sometimes maybe that's the way they get themselves into difficulties or into areas that can cause difficulties for them. But one of the things we were talking about is with Blackpool Zoo that I found really quite interesting. Tell us a little about that one.
So yeah, we've got a partnership with Blackpool Zoo, and every few months we run a 6 to 8 week project with a group of young people. In which we take them down once a week, and the young people get to work behind the scenes in the zoo with the zookeepers. Every week they work with a different type of animal to learn about their way of living, and all about their habitats and about how the conservation works through the zoos. And general zookeeping, really, and that goes on for, like I say, 6 to 8 weeks, and through that they gain AQA accreditation, and that's proved a really popular project. We've got one coming up beginning 26th of April. We have 12 spaces available, and it's for ages 11 to 14 years. So people can refer into that. The young people themselves can refer into it. Their parents, schools, whoever would like to refer into.
Right. And I've not heard of it. I've heard of lots of projects, different projects, but never one before that's with a zoo. I mean, I would imagine that's a really good relationship to get a zoo that is actually interested in working with young people to see if through the work within the zoo can help them focus on some of the kind of life rather than drugs, alcohol or whatever. So it must be a nice combination, that.
Yeah, I think ourselves and the zoo, we both recognise that young people are really interested in animals and they enjoy that aspect of things. A lot of young people want their own animals, especially when they're coming into the teenage years. They want their first pet. So we've made a partnership with the hope that it can create a therapeutic environment for the young people to learn while having fun, but also it works for the zoo where we're putting out a broader message from the zoos about conservation. Because
often people are really quick, aren't they, to tend to label young people. Yeah. I mean, well, they label young people anyway, but they label young people certainly if they think there are drug and alcohol issues. So it must be also another way, a good way of breaking down those barriers, that you don't make assumptions about young people because they've got involved with drug or alcohol. Yeah, the main objective of Aspire and all of its projects that it runs is to engage young people in positive diversionary activities. We run the projects with the aim of reducing the risk of young people choosing the wrong path, so to speak. So a lot of young people, for example, might fall into peer pressure and could be unaware of positive activities that are out there for them due to it not being advertised enough, or due to them maybe being from a disadvantaged background and financial issues. Stopping a young person believing or thinking that they could be a part of something, one of the projects. So what we hope is to put these projects on which are free for the young people. You don't have to be any type of young person to come on the project. You don't have to be have a specific issue around drugs or alcohol to come on the projects. You could just be a young person who's looking for a bit of an activity to join in with, and to meet other young people, maybe from from different backgrounds. I've got one young person at the minute who's helping us plan the festival that we're having in May, and he was on a previous project and he really enjoyed the fact that he got to know a whole group of people that of young people he'd never ever have spoke to if it wasn't for the project. And one of the other things that we were discussing, I'm sure this is something that both of you can talk about, are the myths that young people have when it comes to maybe drugs, alcohol. What are some of those myths? Well, the main one that we're faced with at the moment in the group work aspect of things, which is the other aspect of my role, is that energy drinks help you concentrate, and it's actually the complete opposite. Energy drinks, they have the opposite effect. Like it's a stimulant drug, and it speeds up your central nervous system, which effectively creates anxiety, creates your blood pressure to rise and your heart rate to rise. It can create scattiness, so the inability to focus, and it also creates a lack of appetite, and it makes it hard for a young person to sleep. So it's hard to get the message across that the immediate effect of this energy drink might seem like it's a positive effect and it's helping them to concentrate. Actually, in the long run, throughout the course of a day or the 24 hours in a day, it's actually having a negative impact and affecting a wider range of issues, factors in their lives. Yeah, there's been quite a lot of publicity about energy drinks recently, and is that something then that is really popular with young people at the moment, and they actually think that by drinking energy drinks they're going to, get high, they're going to feel really quite fit, is the way a lot of the companies push energy drinks, don't they? Yeah, exactly right. The energy drinks are designed just to make young people accept them, make them look exciting. A lot of them are shaped in the size of what a beer can would be. So effectively, it can look like a young person is carrying a can of beer.
which is supposed to make it look cool, I guess. And the labelling on it as well, things like the names of them are quite good names.
Usually very attractive, aren't they, to young people when you see them on the shelves. But
they're enough of a worry that all schools and colleges that I know of within Central and West Lancs have banned them because of the effect that they're having within school. And not only just the caffeine, that's just the caffeine intake we're talking about, but they're full of sugar, they're full of other chemicals, God knows what effects they're having. It's only going to be in the long term that we're going to find out what effects they're going to be having on young people.
And Louise, when you do kind of one-to-one work, I mean, how are you able to kind of balance out working with young people that, in fact, you're trying to help them and not stop their enjoying themselves?
I think it's a fine line, really. I think you go in with, to meet every young person with an open mind, and kind of explaining that you're there as an advocate for them, really. You're there to support them. The services isn't compulsory, so it's a choice that they want to engage with us, and that we explain that we're not there to tell them that drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. That's not the message. The message is, have a few sessions with us, listen, to some of the information that we're going to give you, talk a little bit about your own personal experiences, and hopefully you'll come away with it with the ability to make informed choices that are going to keep you safe at the end of the day. So it is a fine line that you've got to tread, but it is all about that persona that we don't go in all suited and booted. We dress casually for a start. So it's having that young person friendly approach that we're not there to dictate, we're there to support. And I think if you get that balance right, then at least if you can have that initial 20 minutes with a young person to explain that and get that across, then very often if a young person's in a difficult place or a difficult position, they tend to want to find out a little bit more, really, and have a few more sessions and see how that can support, because sometimes it's not just about the work that we can do, it's the other services that we can put them in touch with. They might be struggling with anger issues, they might be struggling with a past family breakup, that's never quite been resolved, so we could look into some counselling for them. It's about looking at all different angles with a young person, and we do gather quite a lot of information when we work with young people, so that we're able to put in a holistic package of support. So we're not always just focusing on their drug and alcohol use, because sometimes if it is more complex and it's not just experimental use, there can be other reasons as to why they're using, maybe as a negative coping strategy for something else that's going on in their life. So,
and peer pressure really is a big one, isn't it? I mean, I know over the years, people I've talked to, situations that I've interviewed people about. And if I think about me, I think when I was at school, peer pressure would have been one of the most difficult things for me to say no to. That is a biggie, isn't it, for a lot of young people? Is it still the case today that often peer pressure is one of the main things that people might do, things that they wouldn't perhaps otherwise choose to?
Yeah, I think that young people are trying to conform and rebel all at the same time, aren't they? Which makes, teenage years as confusing and as difficult as they are. So I think peer pressure does play a huge part. I can think of young people that part of their success of like cutting down on, for example, their cannabis use has been attributed to the fact that they've spoken to their friends about it and they've decided that they've wanted to do the same thing. So it's been a collective thing. And very often when you speak to young people about what their barriers are going to be to cutting down on what they're using, they very often say their friends, because they don't want to lose their friendship group, because that can be very much like their family. They probably spend more time with them than they do perhaps with their family. So they're frightened of losing those relationships and worrying how them standing out and being a bit different and saying, no, actually I want to cut down, is going to affect the dynamics of that friendship group. So sometimes the work that we do is around that, and around how to build maybe new friendships if that's what's needed. Right.
And Hannah, we've talked about the zoo. what about the other activities? What are some of the other things that take place?
Well, throughout the year we have lots of different projects on. The ones that are up and coming at the minute are the zoo project, which I spoke about. We've also got a football project starting on the 30th of April, and that'll be every Wednesday 6 till 7 p.m, and that's for 16 to 25 year olds. We've got a partnership with Preston City Council and Sportivate to do that. Transport is provided as well. It's £1 a session. Information can be found if you contact Young Addaction on 01772 255 307. And we've also got the festival coming up on the 31st of May, which we're looking for young people to come and perform. The whole ethos of the festival is for young people to design and create and be part of the whole process of it, and it's to showcase young people from Central Lancashire's talent. It doesn't have to be a talent that lies with just music, or it could be anything. It could be circus skills, it could be graffiti art, it could be free running, it could be parkour, it could be whatever skill that they have. If they want to come and showcase it, we're going to put a platform there.
Right, and where will that be taking place?
That will be on the Flag Market. At the moment it's the Flag Market.
Okay, and that's the 31st of May?
Yep.
Brilliant. So if people want to find out more information, because parents can also, I mean, if parents are concerned, they can also contact Addaction, can't they, and talk to somebody. So if there's a parent listening, because I know young people will be in school or maybe college, most young people this morning, but if parents are worried or concerned about son or daughter, they can talk to somebody, can't they, at Addaction, if they just want to, because sometimes it may be really difficult. You don't know who to talk it to, you know, and of course you don't want to make things worse at home, because that's a biggie, isn't it? That you don't want to do something in case you make it far worse. So parents can talk to people at Addaction. I think I'm right, aren't I, on that one?
Yeah, you're completely right. We do get quite a few phone calls from worried parents wanting a little bit of advice and guidance, and very often they've been on the internet, you know, looking at websites for further information, and they've come across obviously our service. But yeah, we're more than happy to spend time with concerned parents. And
you cover Preston and across Lancashire, am I right? It is Addaction, isn't it, that covers Preston and central Lancashire and across the county?
Yeah, it does.
Brilliant. Have you just got the telephone number then again, please?
Yeah, 255 307, and that's Preston number.
Okay. Well, can I thank you both for coming in this morning? That was Hannah Merlin and Louise Walmsley from Addaction.
Thank you.
In Preston. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
You're listening to the Chat City interviews on 103.2 Preston FM.